Hello and welcome to the Men and Women of Valor Pentecostal Church located 347 6th Avenue, Newark, New Jersey, English Bible Study. Now, I am Pastor Tony Wimbush. I am the English speaking pastor for this church. This church is progressive. We're trying to do something new and connect with the whole community that we're in. We're in the English speaking and Spanish speaking community. Pastor Spanish speaking and I am English speaking. You can look me up on the website, look us up on the website, visit us if you want. Sunday I'm at church from 10 to 12, bringing the English service, and then the pastor is doing the Spanish service 2 to about 4 or 5. We give food bank every Saturday, so you can look us up and find out when it's going to be given at the church. And everything we do, we put back in the church. We both work, and we're doing something new, something progressive. So I'm Pastor Tony Wimbush, the English-speaking pastor for Men and Women of Valor Pentecostal Church, located at 347 West 6th Avenue, Newark, New Jersey. Now, in the Bible study, Happy New Year's to those who are just tuning in. Now, in the Bible study, we're going to change our Bible study for the winter months to 9 to about 9:45 because it is cold and the snow is difficult, and we have problems getting to the church. Some roads are closed. So we're going to change it to 9 to 9:45 until the winter is over at least. So that, we can prep and get ready while we're in the church. If you want to show up, you can, because if you show up to Bible study, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can show up to Bible study, and you can have Q&A after the Bible study is over, because we're offering Q&A and the things that you want to know about the Bible and know about God and know about how being in the church, because you are the church, how to live as a Christian. I will answer those questions for you. And if I can't answer them for you at that particular time, if you come to Bible study or you come to church on Sundays, 10 to 12, I will definitely stay in touch with you and answer those questions. You can also email me on the website and text me and email me on the website, and I will give you information. You can also text me. My number is there, and I will give you information, give you answers, possibly to help you out. I am a pastoral counselor. I do have a doctorate in pastoral counseling, and so that's my specialty. And I always talk about wanting to make sure that if you are a Christian, my thing is that we need to learn how to defend our belief, as does the Jewish people, as does the Jehovah's Witnesses, as does Catholics, as does the Muslims. They all defend their religion and can't be swayed. So Christians, everybody said they're Christians, and then they act a certain way, and then they don't act Christ-like. Christian is being Christ-like. So if you study the life of Christ, you realize that it is not a joke. It is not just saying I'm a Christian. It's faithful belief in believing Christ died for your sins and rose on the third day. And he was on this earth as a human, and he showed us the way to live a prosperous, happy, God-filled, Spirit-filled life, and how we can defeat sin in our lives. So, with that being said, we're going to continue with our Bible study. We're doing, as you know, we're doing Genesis, Revelation, and we're in Exodus 26 at this point. And we're going to start with Exodus 26. So, in the tabernacle, you are to make of 10 tent cloths or fine twisted linen and blue thread and wool dyed reddish purple and caucus scarlet material with shrubs, the work of an embroidery you will make them. The length of each tent cloth is 28. This is them building the tabernacle. If you're like, where is he at? If you haven't listened to the other Bible studies, this is him building the tabernacle after they've been put in the promised land. This is when, they were raising up Moses' hand, and every time they raised him up, they defeated all the people that they needed to defeat to be in the promised land that God had promised them. So at this point, they're talking about God is giving them instructions on how to build the tabernacle and what it should look like. And that's what's going on here. Okay, the length of each tent cloth is 28 cubits, and the width of each tent cloth is 4 cubits. There's one measure for all the tent cloths. 5 tent cloths are to form a series with the one joined to the other, and 5 tent cloths a series with the one joined to the other. And you must make loops of blue thread upon the edge of one tent cloth at the end of the series. And you are to do the same upon the edge of the outermost tent. You will make 50 loops on the one tent cloth. 50 loops you will make on the extremity of the tent cloth that is at the other place of junction, the loops being opposite one to the other. And you must make 50 hooks of gold and join the tent cloths one to the other by means of the hooks, and it must become one tabernacle. Now they're building this tabernacle to put the Ark of the Covenant in there, which is where the Ten Commandments was also located. But it's also, the Ark of the Covenant is also where God is going to speak with them in the tabernacle that they're building. Now notice God does everything decent and in order. Everything is measured to precise measurements. So when the Bible says God does everything decent in order, he does. He doesn't do things out of order. So if you're going somewhere it's out of order, that ain't God. God does things decent and in order, okay? So let's continue. And you must make loops of blue thread upon the wet edge of the 1/10 cloth at the end of the series, and you are to do the same upon the edge of the outermost tent cloth at the other place of junction. You will make 50 loops on the 1/10 cloth, and 50 loops you will make on the extremity of the tent cloth that is at the other place of junction, the loops being opposite one to the other. And you must make 50 hooks of gold and join the tent cloth one to the other by means of the hooks, and it must become one tabernacle. And you must make cloths of goat's hair for the tent upon the tabernacle. You will make 11 tent cloths. The length of each tent cloth is 30 cubits, and the width of each tent cloth is 4 cubits. There is one measure for the 11 tent cloths. And you must join 5 tent cloths by themselves and 6 tent cloths by themselves. And you must fold double the 6 tent cloth at the forefront of the tent. And you must make 50 loops upon the edge of the 1 tent cloth, the outermost one in the series, and 50 loops upon the edge of the tent cloth at the other place of junction. And you must make 50 hooks of copper and put the hooks in the hoops and join the tent together, and it must become one. And what remains over the cloth of the tent is overhanging half of the tent cloth. That remains over is to hang over the back of the tabernacle. And the cubit on the side, and the cubit on that side, and what remains over in the length of the cloth of the tent will serve as an overhanging on the sides of the tabernacle to cover it on this side and on that. And you must make a covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red, a covering of seal skins up on top. And you must make the panel frames for the tabernacle of acacia wood standing on end. 10 cubits is the length of a panel frame, and a cubit and a half is the width of each panel frame. Each panel frame has 2 tenons joined one to the other. That is the way you will do all the panel frames of the tabernacle. And you must make the panel frames for the tabernacle, 20 panel frames for the side toward the Negeb to the south. And you will make 40 socket pedestals of silver under the 20 panel frames, 2 socket pedestals under the 1 panel frame and its 2 tenons, and 2 socket pedestals under the other panel frame with its 2 tenons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, the northern side, 20 panel frames, and there are 40 socket pedestals of silver, 2 socket pedestals under the 1 panel frame, and 2 socket pedestals under the other panel frame. And for the rear section of the tabernacle to the west, you will make 6 panel frames, and you will make 2 panel frames as corner posts of the tabernacle on its 2 rear sections, and they should be duplicates At the bottom, together they should be duplicates up to the top of each one at the first ring. That is the way it should be for the two of them. They will serve as two corner posts, and there must be 8 panel frames. Their socket pedestals of silver, 16 petals, 2 socket pedestals under the 1 panel frame. God is very precise in everything he does. So the precision of building this tabernacle to place the Ark of the Covenant inside is precise. There's a reason he's making them do it this way. Now, when I was growing up, they never talk about how the tabernacle was built. They only talk about Solomon's tabernacle and what he built. But never talk about this tabernacle that was built prior to Solomon. And it's important to know some of the things that they don't really talk about in the Bible, because it explains to you how precise God really is in everything he does. So a lot of times when he does things in our life, we feel like we're being dismantled. We're being rebuilt. And that's because we are. Because the Bible says you have to renew your mind every day. So when God dismantles us and builds us from the bottom up and give us a solid foundation, he's precise in what he's doing. Of course, there's going to be pains and maybe sorrows and misunderstandings as to why is this happening to me? Why is God doing this to me? What is the purpose? Then you got to think about Job and what happened to him and how he was much better after God allowed Satan to mess with him, but yet brought him back up to the top, bigger and better than he was before. So those who believe in God, and you may be going through some situations, if you truly have faith and believe in God, you should know that he only takes you through to make you better. We know that gold, to get pure gold, it has to be burn, 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 until, the other materials are gone to get pure gold. We talk about the boys in the fiery furnace, and they didn't even burn. So you have to understand that everything God does is precise and in order. It's never out of order, and it's always precise. He's not a chaotic God. Although sometimes we do not understand why he's doing what he's doing, and we don't understand the purpose of it until we've already went through it, and then it comes to you, oh, wow, that was the purpose, that's why, And so God is precise in what he does. He'll build you up precisely so that when you get to the point where he wants you at, you are not going to falter with your faith. You're not going to fall back into disbelief. You're not going to start doing things that you shouldn't do. You're not going to get to the point where you are boisterous or proud and feel like, well, I'm God's chosen, and I can do what I want. He's going to forgive me. That is, that's not how it works. There's a reason and purpose that he will build you up and design you in a way, and that he wants you to serve him and serve others. You see, a true leader is one who serves, not one who's being served. You got to remember what Jesus did. He served everybody by dying on the cross for sins that he never committed, for the sins of people. People, I'm quite sure in his human form, he probably never thought deserved to be forgiven. That's why he was on the mountain saying, there's got to be another way. Can you take this cup from me? And he prayed 3 times. He prayed hard, sweated blood. And God told him, I can't take this. This is what you signed up for. And then he eventually says, then thy will be done, not my will. And God's will was done. And that's why we got to go through Christ, Jesus Christ, to get to God. He's our mediator. He's there going, remember I died for him. I died for him. I died for him. I died for the sins. You have to forgive him. Now, I'm not saying misuse the forgiveness of Christ and of God. Don't misuse and cry wolf and know you're going to go out there and do something wrong all the time. God's going to forgive me. No, it doesn't work that way. That's not the way it works. You know, some people take it for granted. Liken God unto your parents, mother and father. You know, parents will forgive you and love you and love you. But then after a while, they got to let you hit the bricks. They're still going to love you. But they're not going to allow you to do certain things to them anymore. And they're going to let you hit the bricks until you come to your senses. You take the parable of the son, the prodigal son. Wants to spend his money. Reached the age, wants to sit and spend his money. Went out there, spent all his money. Ended up having to get a job. Cleaning pig slop. Cleaning pigsties. Was so hungry he was getting ready to eat the pig food. And then he came to his senses. Jesus Christ, my Father treats his servants better than this. I'm just going to go home and ask my Father to forgive me and that let him know that I will work as one of his servants. I know I messed up. I know that, I shouldn't have done what I did, and I was a hard-headed son. And I'm going to go and ask for forgiveness because he treats his servants better than this. But it took him to fall that far and low to come to his senses and realize, my God, how low have I fallen? Let me just go ask for forgiveness. And what happens when he goes home? His father's happy. Because his father says now he's lost. He was lost and now he's found. And trust me, from that day on, he would never disobey his father. You can take that to the bank. He's probably the best son you could ever have. Even though his brothers got jealous and said, why are you having a party for him? You didn't find him. And he says, because he was lost and now he's found. That's how God is with us. We can get lost and then realize, you know what? I'm going back to God. Or we are lost and find God. And he's going to treat us like royalty. He's going to give us the best. He's going to build us up precisely. He's going to build us up succinctly. He's going to build us up in a way that we cannot be destroyed, at least not by mankind. And that we serve him the way he wants us to. And we love people the way he wants us to. So the tabernacle is being built. You must make the bars of acacia wood and 5 for the panel frames of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the panel frames of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the panel frames of the side of the tabernacle for the 2 rear sections to the west. In the middle bar at the center of the panel frames is running through from end to end. And you will overlay the panel frames with gold, and the rings you will make of gold as support for the bars, and you must overlay the bars with gold, and you must set up the tabernacle according to the plane of it that you have been shown in the mountain. I mean, this is so precise that you can literally imagine what it's going to look like in your brain, because it's so precise. You're looking at the panels and the frames and the cloth and the rings, and you're looking at how they're built and the different posts, and you literally can imagine how it's going to look in your brain because it's so precise. Talk about architecture, right? And you will overlay the panel frames with gold, and their rings you will make of gold as supports for the bars. And you must overlay the bars with gold. And you must set up the tabernacle according to the plan of it that you have been shown in the mountain. And you must make a curtain of blue thread and wool dyed reddish purple and crocus, scarlet material, and fine twisted linen. You will make it with cherubs, the work of an embroiderer, and you must put it upon 4 pillars of acacia overlaid with gold. Their pegs are of gold. They are upon your socket pedestal of silver. And you must put the curtain under the hooks and bring the ark of the testimony there within the curtain. And the curtain must make a division for you between the holy and the most holy. And you must put the cover upon the ark of the testimony in the most holy. So after they build this tabernacle with precise precision, with gold overlays, skins of goat and seals, linen, fine linen, embroidered. So you can imagine it's beautiful, with colorfully blue, beautiful. After you've done and built it the way that God has given you, you're going to bring the Ark of the Covenant and put it inside where the Holies of Holies is. And that's where God will speak to man. Okay? And you must put the curtain under the hooks and bring the Ark of the Testimony there within the curtain. And the curtain must make a division for you between the holy and the most holy. And you must put the cover upon the Ark of the Testimony in the most holy. And you must set the table outside the curtain, and the lampstand opposite the table on the side of the tabernacle towards the south, and the table you will put on the north side. And you must make a screen for the entrance of the tent of blue thread and wool dyed reddish purple and caucus scarlet material and fine twisted linen, the work of a weaver. And you must make for the screen 5 pillars of acacia and overlay them with gold. Their pegs are of gold, and you must cast for them 5 socket pedestals of copper. And you must make the altar of acacia wood 5 cubits its length and 5 cubits its width. The altar should be 4 square, and its height 3 cubits. And you must make its horns upon its 4 corners. Its horns will proceed out of it, and you must overlay it with copper. And you must make its cans for clearing away its fatty ashes, and its shovels and its bowls, and its forks, and its 5 holders. You will make all its utensils of copper. So the utensils of cleaning the sacrifice that they will be given and burning for the Holy of Holies in the tabernacle. They even made special utensils to clean the ashes away. Everything was precise. Now bear in mind, this is before Jesus came. Once Jesus came, he taught that all of that wasn't necessary. You just need a personal relationship with God. He explained that you are the church, you know. So anyway, let's continue. And make all of its utensils of copper, and you must make a grating for it, a network of copper, and you must make upon the net 4 rings of copper at its 4 extremities. And you must put it under the altar's rim, down within, and net must be toward the center of the altar. You must make poles for the altar, its poles being of acacia wood, and you must overlay them with copper, and its poles must be put into the rings, and the poles must be upon the 2 sides of the altar when carrying it. A hollow chest of planks you will make it, just as he showed you in the mountain, so they will make it. And you must make the courtyard of the tabernacle for the side toward the Negeb to the south. The courtyard has hangings of fine twisted linen, 100 cubits being the length for the one side, and its 20 pillars and their 20 socket pedestals are of copper. The pegs of the pillars and the joints are of silver. So too it is for the north side in length. The hangings being for 100 cubits of length, and its 20 pillars and their 20 socket pedestals being of copper. The pegs of the pillars and their joints being of silver, and for the width of the courtyard on the west side, the hangings are of 50 cubits, their pillars being 10, their socket pedals 10. And the width of the courtyard on the east side toward the Sun rising is 50 cubits, and there are 15 cubits of hangings to the side, their pillars being 3, their sockets, pedestals 3, and for the other side there are 15 cubits of hangings, their pillars being 3, and their socket pedals 3. And for the gate of the courtyard there is a screen 20 cubits long, of blue thread and wool dyed reddish purple and caucus scarlet material, and fine twisted linen, the work of a weaver. Their pillars being 4, and their socket pedals 4. All the pillars of the courtyard round about have fastenings of silver, and their pegs are of silver, but their socket pedestals of copper. And the length of the courtyard is 100 cubits, and the width 50 cubits, and the height 5 cubits of fine twisted linen, and their socket pedestals being of copper. And all the utensils of the tabernacle, and all of its service, and all its tent pins, and all the pins of the courtyard of copper. As for you, you are to command the sons of Israel that they get for you pure beaten olive oil for the luminary in order to light up the lamps constantly. And the tent of meeting outside the curtain, that is by the testimony, Aaron and his sons will set it in order from evening till morning before Jehovah. It is a statute to time indefinite for their generations to be performed by the sons of Israel. So they are to have a constant light lit in front of this tabernacle. And it's a 24-hour day job. It is to be lit continuously, indefinitely, of course, until Jesus comes. So in your mind, you can imagine how beautiful this thing was, this tabernacle was, where the Ark of the Covenant was in, where they would go and do sacrifice to God, where they would go and talk to God. It was beautiful. And all of these things, the linen, the colors, the copper, the gold, the Acacia wood, the silver, they all had specific reasons and purposes for why it was built like that. Now that we would have to get into later. But there were specific reasons and purposes for those type of materials. There's something about those materials that God wanted specifically. And there's specific reasons, but we have to dig into that later on. Okay? All right, in the tent of meeting outside the curtain, that is by the testimony, Aaron and his sons will set it in order from evening till morning before Jehovah. It is a statute to time indefinite for their generations to be performed by the sons of Israel. And as for you, bring near to yourself Aaron your brother and his sons with him from the midst of the sons of Israel, that he may act as priest to me. Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron. And you must make holy garments for Aaron your brother for glory and beauty. In yourself are to speak to all the ones wise with the heart, that I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, and they must make Aaron's garments for sanctifying him, that he may act as priest to me. Now, they also have to make Aaron, who God is dubbing as the priest to him, special garments. In order to enter the tabernacle, he would have to put on these special garments. Now, I know church people say, come as you are. And you are to come as you are. But when God changes you, truly changes you, then you come as respectful to the tabernacle, to the house of God, to God. Now, I'm old school. I grew up where you had your Sunday best. And you didn't wear your Sunday best to school. You wore your Sunday best to church, and church only. As soon as you got home, you changed your clothes, you went outside. You didn't wear them to school unless you're taking pictures or something. But you didn't wear them. They were your Sunday best because we respected the church. And this is what it likens to me, saying that Aaron has to have on some special clothing that they have to design in order for him to come into the tabernacle as a way of respecting God's tabernacle and respecting who God is. Now, I know the church have gotten away from that, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I mean, you come as you are. I understand that I am big believer in that. But once God changes you, if he truly changes you, you will come with respect. That's all I'm saying. All right? It said, it preached for him. There are the garments that they will make, a breastplate, and an ephod, and a sleeveless coat, and a robe of checker work, a turban, and a sash. And they must make the holy garments for Aaron, your brother, and his sons, that they may act as priests to me. And they themselves will take the gold and the blue thread and the wool dyed reddish purple and caucus scarlet material in the fine linen. And they must make the ephod of gold, blue thread, and wool dyed reddish purple, caucus scarlet material in fine twisted linen, the work of an embroiderer. And it is to have 2 shoulder pieces to be joined at its 2 extremities. Now he's even going to show them how to make the garments in which the priest he is dubbing has to wear in order to enter the tabernacle. So, like I said, God is precise and he is exact in what he does and how he does it. So he's telling them, okay, you make the tabernacle, now you're going to make the robes for the priests to enter the tabernacle, because they have to come correct. I'm God. They just can't show up any kind of way, look at any kind of way. All right? Okay? And the scarlet material and the fine twisted linen, the work of an embroiderer. And it's to have 2 shoulder pieces to be joined at its 2 extremities, and it must be joined, and the girdle which is upon it for tying it close according to its workmanship should be of its materials of gold, blue thread, wool dyed reddish purple, caucus scarlet material, and fine twisted linen. And you must take 2 onyx stones and engrave upon them the names of the sons of Israel, 6 of their names upon this one stone, the names of the 6 remaining ones upon the other stone, in the order of their births. Wow. Anyway, we're going to stop there. And that is Exodus 28, and we stopped at 11. And we will start next week. But just saying that precise is who God is. He's not chaotic. If he tells you to do something that doesn't make sense to you, do it, because God knows exactly what he's doing. And he's going to bless you. So I'm Pastor Tony, the English-speaking pastor for the Men and Women of Valor Pentecostal Church, located 347 West 6th Avenue, Newark, New Jersey. If you want to give, look on our website. It'll tell you how to give. If you want to come for the winter months, I will be here from 9 to about 9:45. If you want to come, ask questions. If you want to come to Sunday service, I'm there every Sunday, 10 to 12 o'clock. And our services are getting better and better. And God bless you for joining, if you're joining out there in social media. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.